Hey everyone, my name is REDRUP. This is the It's Not a Phase podcast, and on this episode I'm joined by frontman Justin Pierre and guitarist Cain of Motion City Soundtrack. We talk all about their brand new album, The Same Old Wasted Wonderful World, the 10-year gap between records, working with Patrick Stump of Fall Out Boy, being involved with the film Dìdi, and loads more. But before we dive into all of that, this is just a heads up for any newbies and a reminder for any returning listeners and viewers that this is an independent podcast run solely by me, so any help and support that you can give would be really appreciated and really does go a long way. You can hit subscribe or follow wherever you're checking this out, and that way you also don't miss out on anything new that I put out. You can leave a review or a comment. You can follow the podcast on social media. If you'd like to get email updates, then you can sign up to the mailing list. There's a Patreon if you did want to go one step further, and there's a web store if you want to pick up some merch. And I've also just set up a Discord server, so it'd be great to see you join the community over there. I've shoved links in the description box of this episode to everything that I've just mentioned, or you can head to itsnotaphase.co.uk. And now, with all of that out of the way, here's my chat with Justin and Josh of Motion City Soundtrack. What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining me on this episode of the It's Not a Phase podcast, where I'm joined by Justin and Josh of Motion City Soundtrack. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Pretty good.
Awesome.
Good.
Awesome, guys. Awesome. Well, I mean, you should be feeling really good because I guess the brand new album for you guys, The Same Old Wasted Wonderful World, that's out now for everyone to enjoy via Epitaph. First album in 10 years. How are you feeling about not only, I guess, releasing a full body of music again, but the way that fans have been reacting to it as well?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. It feels nice to have it out. I was a little concerned that, wouldn't be a world to release it in, but I think we made it here. So it's out.
Made it. What was it? Oh, shoot. I was going to say something and I totally forgot. Man, great job, Justin. Great job.
No, I think in general we've been like it's been awesome having it out there.
Oh,
yeah. Response.
I always tend to go. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, I was just feeling time. You're gonna say.
I think I've only heard positive things, which is not me bragging, because I also want to say that people who don't like it probably won't take the time out of their day to tell you how much they don't like it, unless they used to be a fan and are just like, this is garbage, So whatever that means, I know I like it. I know Josh likes it. I know our band likes it. Yeah, that's about where I kind of start and stop with it. If I'm happy, that's all that matters.
And and playing songs and seeing people's reactions to those songs, like that's really kind of leads to how I feel about the record in the long run, I think. But more than shows. Yeah. And it's been great. I mean, the response has been really positive, and I don't think people are just being nice. I think I don't know what it means, this day and age. I don't know where that puts us, but we're glad to keep doing stuff. So
I do like drawing correlations between other things. And I just want to point out that there was 10 years between the last Super Chunk album and the one that they put out 10 years later. And so I'm not saying that our album is as good as Super Chunk, but I'm just saying that that happened.
You just put it out into the world just so people know.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Well, was there any apprehension for you guys then? Because not only, so much has happened in 10 years for not just for you guys, but, the world as well. Was apprehension of what a Motion City soundtrack in 2025 would sound like, and like where they would be in this world?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think intentionally. I think the biggest conversation we had about doing music and any kind of those kind of conversations about worrying about our legacy and do people really want new music from us, or is it they're not gonna like it, that kind of thing. Like we kind of headed that off with like, hey, we're gonna go and make music that we like and not worry about it, because as I was explaining, it's like we want to keep touring and doing stuff, and we kind of to do that, we kind of have to make music, and we want to make music. The only thing that's scary is, is if nobody likes it. But if you just take that out of the equation, don't make that a thing, it doesn't matter. I mean, people still like Commit This to Memory. So whatever we did now isn't going to affect what we had. So we just are like, let's just make music we love, and hopefully we'll get to keep doing the thing that we like to do. And I think that's the best thing we could do and approach it that way. And it really wasn't about like, ooh, our record needs this type of thing and this type of, it was like, we wanted to experiment. We wanted to see where things led. And the way we made the record, it kind of had to be done the way it was. And the songs kind of chose themselves just because of the trajectory of that process was a bit strange and drawn out. So we had to like really build an album as it came, and the best stuff just floated to the top. And and it just, yeah, it was great. And to do that, and even Sean O'Keefe, the guy who helped us make the record, produced it, engineered, and mixed it. He's an old school friend and a big fan of I'm the Movie, that record, and he's a big fan of Tony in particular and his drumming and stuff. But he went back and did a deep dive of all the records, and like asked me a bunch of really important questions about like who wrote this song, where is this type of guitar playing, who plays this part, is that you, why is that not happening in this stuff, and kind of really analyze this in a way that you can't, it's hard to analyze yourself that way, because that we like sometimes homogenize things and made it easier because it made sense for us to do that. Like, oh, you're singing, you should play this, and then we should do this. Or just the nature of like, we're done with the song, we need you to play something. It's not like you're not in a practice space for 10 years writing stuff. We had like 10 years to kind of like nitpick a lot of ideas that we've had and try to bring some of that, what we brought to the table when we weren't influenced by ourselves. You know what I mean? Like the things we had prior to the band existing that made the band what it is, we needed to like kind of shake that back into the band a little bit. And that's the only kind of like really looking inward that we did that. And it wasn't about trying to achieve like a commercial success. It was about what is the true thing that was special about what we were doing. And can we do that? I don't know.
It's interesting when you say that. I just started thinking about specifically guitar stuff, because I feel like I had been saying for years, like, I'm just going to use these as placeholders, these power chords, and they just never got around to writing anything cool. And like slightly more interesting than that. But I am noticing it's like even on like a song like You Know Who the Fuck We Are, we're both playing interesting stuff, which is kind of like what we used to do, like at least in the verses. And then what is the other, like things like this? There's just like a bunch of songs where we're both doing different things and not just playing power chords, which is interesting. I don't know that. I mean, it's not like we haven't done that on other records, but I feel like that might have been something that was conscious.
Yeah, I think, it's interesting because like Commit This to Memory is a record where like maybe more of the power chord, straight up big sounding stuff. We did a little bit more of that than we did on I Am the Movie. I Am the Movie was much more of like two, like kind of working together, but in their own zone, guitar playing, and maybe an overdub. Where Commit This to Memory was like layering parts, making it big, making it huge, but still doing what we do. There still was enough of that there, but it was definitely the start of heading down that path. And it's not down talking any later record or what we've done or like it not being, but that's maybe what we started missing is we started getting better at writing catchy songs, and we stopped being in a space where we just jammed for hours and made weird stuff. So we had to learn how to do that without that part component. I think with this new record, like Justin wrote, You Know the Fuck We Are, and that first riff thing, like I could have easily just played a basic thing to that because he's doing all this stuff. But I was like, because of this conversation with Sean and looking at stuff, I was like, no, I need to do something that is like similar to what he's doing and plays together with it. And even when Sean was doing like rough mixes in the early stages when we were getting like sent home with it, he kept putting Justin's guitar up in front like a main guitar. And I was like, no. The way I know that it was Justin's song, but I wrote this to be a thing where we're both up front and panned, because it's like an I Am the Movie kind of like chaos, like embracing the chaos is something that I tried to push a lot for on this record. Like even the song Stop Talking, which isn't on the record, like the bridge keyboard part is like really rhythmic and lots of notes happening and stuff. And when Justin's singing in the past, we would have like made that simpler and kind of fade into the background. But I pushed really hard to be like, no, it's adding like even if it just turns down, but it's still there. It's adding that rhythmic push that's pushing this part further forward. And I think the version of me in like Even If It Kills Me Go and in probably those two records in particular, I was pretty much like, okay, you're right, we should do that. And let's layer a bunch more bass synths on this instead of just like, no, let's find like something that cuts through. So I just like, it's just about like us being all assertive in the right way for the things that we think the band needs as a group. Like Tony being assertive about like not just being okay with the drum beat. Like he would be like, no, I need days to work on this part because he didn't, he did his thing in his way, and it really shows to sound like what we love about Tony's drumming. And I think every aspect we all kind of approached this record in that kind of interesting way. Me and Matt would send songs back and forth and rework them a ton of times before we ever got to the point of showing them to anybody else. And I think that process got us to where we are. I don't know. I kind of lost where I was talking about, but
Do you think that was partly?
I was just going to add is I think am I correct in assuming that most of the guitar stuff is one like you're here and I'm here?
It depends. Sometimes it flips and flops. I think like it's not like locked in,
sorry, what I mean is it's not like there's 10 guitars going like this one.
We didn't overdub like massive, only if it needed it. I mean, in fact, like a song like Downer, when it gets to the bridge, I think it's just my guitar and the keyboard, and bass and drums. Like,
right.
Because like at that point we're like, it's kind of cool because that song's such a sonic assault, the rest of it, and it's such a departure at the bridge. I was like, this is kind of neat that it's like this grungy, weird chord guitar part, and it's not getting big. It's not getting bigger, but it actually makes it seem more big and open because you kind of like do the opposite of what you've been doing for the rest of the song. I don't know.
Yeah, that was just more in a response to like the idea of like layering and putting in so many, because I know we had a lot of guitars on, I want to say Commit This to Memory and My Dinosaur Life in certain parts, right?
There is on this record too. I mean, there's overdubs of like beefy stuff to go with other things, definitely, but not like.
I just remember 3 tracks of guitars at once and like that kind of stuff. I don't remember doing a whole lot of that on this.
Yeah, no, there isn't. The engineers, Ryan Hewitt from Commit This to Memory and Chris Holmes from the Dinosaur Life, they did a lot of interesting things where like you would overdub guitars that he like the tones are specifically what the other guitars are missing. So there'd be layering because of that kind of thing. Also, it's just like super nerdy engineering, producing stuff to make things sound really big without overwhelming the listener.
Yeah.
Sean did more like punk rock, like just, I don't know.
We weren't in there trying to make it perfect. It wasn't like, it's that the Commit This to Memory is an interesting experience because it was like everything had to be perfect. Like, really didn't want notes out of place. Not that it was like locked to some sort of grid, but like you matched, like that record was painstakingly done so that it's like really cleanly locked in, everything is right. Whereas the record like Even If It Kills Me, we were more loose with that and had fun and just like, oh, it needs something, let's put something. It wasn't like calculated, and that had a cool thing. And so we've kind of learned that way, and I think this new record is that uncalculated, like it needs to sound right, it needs to play like a band sounds human, and then it needs to like sound like you're professionals, but it doesn't have to be like minutely perfect. I don't know, but you should probably, I'm sorry, we've been blabbing about
So good.
Ask us
I'm
about
gonna cut this up because like, man, we talk a lot.
All right, it's a good thing you're on a podcast because I want you to talk. That's what it's all about, isn't it? So but yeah, from what you're saying, I don't know if you would agree with this, but I guess, do you kind of like owe that, I guess, a bit to the break that you guys had? I guess like before with the records, maybe you have like a 2-3 year cycle between records, so there's not much time to kind of reflect on what came before, like what worked, what didn't, what do we like, what do we enjoy making. Whereas this time, I guess there's no kind of deadline or time crunch, so you can actually refer back to each of those records and see what, like I say, what did work, what you did like, what you didn't like, what is the Motion City soundtrack that could be, you know, perfect for you guys and kind of represent you in the best way as people and as musicians as you are today.
I just think that having time apart from both each other and and then writing music together, and just having experiences living life, it gave us more to, I don't know, for me, more to write about and then more to do. I think having such little time in between each record, it's almost like it's just like this cycle, right? A little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, and every record has like a different thing, right? Like I mean, we had our whole lives to write, right? Uh and then Commit to Memory, we had a limited amount of time to write. And it was the first time we were actually writing the whole record with Tony and Matt in the band. And Jesse, really, because they kind of joined right before we did the record, and Matt joined later and then recorded a few of the songs and then redid the bass for it. But Commit to Memory was the first time, like it was kind of our debut working together fully, and we had a crunch time to finish it in. But we did some writing over time prior to it. But Even If It Kills Me was very much like we have a limited amount of time to write a record. We try to do some writing on the road, and then we have this smashed in time in New York, and we're making a record. Like it felt like you're a big band, and now you go make a record with all the professionals, and you're in New York City, and it was like this whole thing, right? But then we got dropped. Well, then we made Dinosaur Life, sorry, and Dinosaur Life was great and fun because we kind of re-envisioned like we wanted to be more rock, like we wanted to live for the moment of the recording and not worry about the future. And I feel like that record was a lot of fun to make, and I feel like it was a, other than we were dealing with being on a major label and having them kind of, yeah, not the worst meddling, but a little meddling about what songs we should do and stuff, where normally those questions and those conversations really aren't a part of our, with Epitaph. He doesn't really, he never talked to us about like, let me hear the songs and make sure we're going to make a good record, or like this song
Right.
is the song you need to finish, or right. And so there was a little bit of that kind of, I think that's the only thing that kind of messes with that record a little bit, is that we got other people's opinions being thrown at us at times where you maybe should have just left us alone. And then we got dropped, and so we were like, I don't know what, if we even want to be a band. And so we were in a really weird time when we made that record go, because we were like, let's just go make a record, spend the time in the studio, just totally do it different. We wrote the songs in the studio from ideas that we had, just like, oh, today this is the idea we had. Let's make that a song. And we just make it a song. It was a totally different type of experience. Um, and then after Tony left, and that record didn't do as well as like we'd hoped. I mean, people were like, everybody prior to it coming out, like all the labels, everybody was like super like, oh my God, we got to get this thing. And it came out and just like the world wasn't listening to music the way we thought they would. And maybe it wasn't bad. I mean, people liked the record. I'm not trying to down talk it, but it just, when we got to Panic Stations, we had lost Tony. We were also writing, trying to write. I personally, I think I was like, we need to get something done. We need to keep moving forward. We can't stall out right now because it's all going to fall apart. And I think we just kind of like, we actually like had written a bunch of stuff, and then we went back and we kept writing for much longer. And then we made the record. But in the end, it was just a weird thing, because I think we were just in a weird headspace of like, oh, we got to keep this ourselves alive and keep this going, because we had never gotten off. Like the idea of stopping hadn't ever come up. After we put that record out, that reality of like stopping, like that's the biggest difference with this record and that time and experiences, is that making this record, there's only thing that was worrisome is that we're going to spend a bunch of our money to make it, right? Because we
Right.
paid for the whole thing. We weren't on a label when we made this record. We made it before we went to Epitaph and the other labels with it. Like it was done, or close. It wasn't done. It was mostly done when we were doing those conversations. Like we had a chunk of it made, and we were talking to people about like, hey, we're making this record. And in the end we spent a lot of our own money on it, and that's the only like danger about it. Other than that,
Right.
it was just, we were making something that we wanted to make, and it wasn't this like if it the outcome didn't matter really, other than just making it happen. I guess that's the
Right.
longest answer to that I think I could have given.
Great answer.
But I think that makes sense, right? I don't know. Sorry, Justin, I was talking forever.
I think so.
That makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. So when did those conversations start then? Like obviously you came back in like 2019, obviously 2020 happened and no one could really do much of anything. And then obviously after that you started doing more shows. Like when did the conversations of, hey, let's actually make an album? When did that kind of start?
I mean,
I
we
feel
always kind of been
like into
talking about it. What's that?
2016.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
even before we, stopped playing live, I remember saying to you, like, I just want to keep making music. I like writing. I like,
Mm.
making stuff. Um, and then by the time we got around to doing it, I sort of fell apart, and then I was dealing with some other shit. So then Josh and Matt kind of took control of all of that, and then we each would kind of throw ideas at each other.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think when did you talk to Tony?
Yeah, I think I was on Sad Summer whenever we did that. That was the point where like I'd realized that like we keep bringing this up and we all nod at each other, and then we like we were kind of self-managing at that point mostly. Like we have a guy helping us with the tour stuff, Josh Newman, who's
Right.
been managing forever, but it's not really like those guys that were kind of like scheduling us out and making sure that we did shit so we could keep our career going. Those guys weren't in our lives anymore. And so that's the point where I realized like, oh shit, if we want to make this record, I got to actually like put it on the schedule. Like I got to book some time and
Like
make
you've
this.
got to turn the wheels, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I got to actually like force us into a room, because if we keep abstractly talking about it, we'll just stay in that world forever. And so I think that's when I was finally like, hey, I'm going to book time. We're going to make this happen. Um, and we need to know where Tony stands, because Tony, he came back to play live with us, but he's kind of like not he's not an official band. We divorced, in that thing, and then he came back. And so it's like not like he wants to be a part of all that extra stuff that
Bullshit.
running a band is like. So it was kind of like we wanted, like 100% wanted to write a record with him and have him play on it. So we just had to, like, I had to literally in a dressing room, I was like, hey, Tony, we're gonna like, what do you feel about this new music? And he's like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, look, I'm gonna put this on the table like this. Like, we're gonna make a new album. We want you to record and write it with us. What do you want to do? Like,
Yeah.
you want to do that, or do you want to just play on it? Yeah, show up last second and play drums? Do you want to not do that? Like,
Yeah.
tell me. And then that was kind of like, and then after that, I was like, I booked time, and he was like, okay, yeah, we'll do it. And then I was like, let's book this first thing and let's just do 3 songs and see, and then we can shop that if we like it, and if we want to move forward, we can figure it out. And we did that, and everybody, including, everybody was just like, this was a lot more fun than we thought it was going to be, and it was great. So that's kind of like, and that started in like 2023, I guess, or 20,
Wow.
yeah, 2023 is when we started recording.
That was the
Wow.
end of
Okay.
it, right? The fall, winter.
We did that stuff. Was that the fall that we went down there? Like, it's probably
Yeah.
like the time of year we went
Yeah.
down there went to Chicago for like 7 days and recorded those songs. And then we had to do stuff at home back and forth, like to finish it up. Like we recorded some guitars here and stuff. Um, and then we were just kind of in this, and then we were going back and forth about when to schedule it. And then, yeah, it just like everything takes time. And then so the next summer we were making the record, and we were supposed to be done mid August, I think. Um, I fell and messed up my arm, and so I finished all my guitar work with like a messed up shoulder with a ruptured subscapula, which was
Ouch.
crazy that I could still play guitar. I couldn't sleep at night because I was in so much pain, and I had surgery immediately after we came back from Chicago. Um, or after that 10 days in August, I couldn't even stay for the whole August thing. I had to go get surgery. Um,
Wow.
that we were supposed to finish up things, but I'm kind of the guy driving the boat, right? And so like me going into 6 months of recovery and 6 weeks of not wanting to exist basically because I couldn't sleep. I was in a crazy thing, and things just never got done. There's a lot of vocals and things that we still needed to wrap up.
Hey,
I mean, things just dragged on, right? And so then in the new year, so 2024 wrapped up, and then I got back to like being like, hey, we got to get this done. And so finally we booked some more time and we wrapped that up in January, and that's when we finished it. But yeah, the goal was to actually have this thing out in June, I think was the plan. But I'm happy that everything happened, and
whoops.
it happened.
Life has different plans.
It had different plans, yeah. It's caused us a little strife of not going on tour for so long of the year and people had booked tours that we had to like unbook, which feel bad for people who work for us, but also like, so it's been a long time coming. I'm really excited to get this Say Anything tour going.
Yeah.
With the co-headlining, and like really it's our record tour, it's like we're gonna go out there and play a lot of this record and just being a band again. Like we've kind of haven't done a real tour. We've done all these like random things this year. So I'm really excited to have a real tour again after a little bit of a stretch here since the I Am the Movie tour, I guess, is the last thing we did. Really? Tour wise, like a full tour. I don't know.
Don't even remember.
It's been a while. I mean,
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Dang.
That is a long time.
I mean, we still had we went out for a week of stuff recently, and we had some stuff this summer, but just because some of the shows that we had booked, like Warped Tour, was actually on our full tour.
Right.
We didn't want to lose those shows, so we went out and did those like week of dates and then a week of dates here. And
yeah, but yeah, the tour's just a few months away, I guess. So that'll be like the first proper run for a little while.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah. So before the album, though, you did release other music like the Stop Talking song for the film Dìdi. Did that kind of give you the push to make that album then, or? I also saw, I think in another interview that you said that there was 3 potential songs made for Dìdi, but you went with Stop Talking. Did they kind of creep into this new record, or?
That first session that we went to start writing the record, that was that. So
Okay.
It wasn't for Dìdi at the time at all.
Right.
It was to do the album stuff, and Stop Talking was one of the first song that we were like, this is the song we want to do. And She Is Afraid and Downer and things like this ended up getting done there too. It was like the added bonus because that was an older song that we'd written, and we're just like, hey Tony, we have this finished song, these 3 finished songs that we want to do. You want to play drums to it? And we just had extra time in those 4 drum days that we did that. When we got wind of the movie and Sean and through Carlos and stuff, we were like, hey, we recorded these 3 songs, or I think Justin had told them, and we just let them listen to them.
Right.
And
it was actually, he hit me up. Well, Andy Young, who's an editor, he actually edited the She's Afraid video. And he did some other stuff for the I Am the Movie, like the screens behind us. He saw a video of Carlos and Sean when we were young, when we were playing. And then he's like, oh, I know Justin. Do you want to talk to him? And then Carlos was like, yeah. And then so we started talking, and then he was like, hey, I hate to hit you up right away, but I'm working on this film. I'm wondering if we could use a song of yours. And they wanted to use When You're Around.
Yeah, which they did.
Yeah. And so they actually used it in the movie, which is really cool. And then I happened to be in Los Angeles, and I was visiting Chelsea Christer, and I tried to do some writing stuff, but and I wanted her to meet Carlos, and I wanted to meet him in real life, and meet Sean and the whole gang. So I went to their post-production where they were finishing up the film, and I was like, hey, do you want to hear some new tunes? And so I just played them like I don't even think they were like fully mixed.
Oh, they weren't done. They weren't done.
Rough.
It had like the lyrics on them, and they may not even been.
It was just for like,
yeah,
it was just like, oh, do you want to hear this? And then they were like, oh, fuck yeah. And then so played it. But I think Stop Talking had the lyrics, all of them.
Oh, yeah.
So,
right.
So they immediately were like, oh my God, this is the fucking movie in a song.
Yeah.
And so then they asked if we could use it as the credit song, which is, it's awesome being in a good movie.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
we've been in some movies and they haven't been like great movies, but it's like, this is fucking next level. And the movie, if people haven't seen it, it is incredible. It's so
Definitely
good.
worth a watch. I liked it a lot, and it was really cool because it was just a fun experience because we were like there is like a buddies kind of vibes, so like it was really chill, and it was funny because they didn't have distribution or anything yet, but like we had gotten the conversations going, but then they like did like everything was taking a while, obviously, and timing, and then they did Sundance, and it was like blowing up, and it became a whole thing where like they had to get us paid before they could like finish their deal with that, because obviously the bigger companies don't want you to come and try to like take more money from them after the
Right.
fact.
But it won the audience award, which is like the
Yeah.
coolest award you can win at Sundance. And then I think Focus Features just swooped in and was like, hell yeah, we'll put this out.
It was awesome. No, and it was really cool. Initially, it was like, oh, this will happen, and that movie will come out, and our record will probably be coming out around the same time. So Stop Talking will be on the record, but
Right.
due to the fact that it took us fucking forever, we that didn't happen. So it kind of got separated out really far, and then it got to the point where we made this record, and I was like, we could put Stop Talking on here, but I was like, I don't know if it
So
needs to
like,
be on the record because I like the way the record is right now.
Right.
and it's just like thinking about that song, I'm like, I don't know where that would go. Like it almost, the
It's
album,
the first song that it wrote for that like the part my part of it when it was like, okay, we're gonna do this, and I'm playing guitar a bunch by myself. I wrote that riff and that kind of the started putting the song together, and then we worked on it on tour. And it was kind of the first initial like we're working on a song for the new record,
Right.
and so it just where we ended up. I feel like it's a totally different journey from that song to the record. Like we could have made a record that was more like that song, but I think we were still maybe in the early phases of like figuring out what we were up to. Uh, Anyway,
word.
I think it's cool. It's a great song, and we probably should start playing it sometime because we did release it, but
Yeah.
we have not played it live.
It is a weird song. Like I love how it's got like three parts. It's
Structurally bizarre, yeah.
yeah, it's really interesting when you kind of break it down. I'm like, this is, I don't
Because
yeah.
when we tried to make it like traditional, it never worked. And like you had written such a great pre-chorus that it's like we wanted to show that more than other things, and the chorus a problematic one to write, and so we ended up landing on that. It was fine, it's good, I like it, but it was like one that took us a while to get to where it is, and then it was like, well, no, we want to the pre-chorus is almost like the best thing.
Right.
And it's just like how sometimes the way Justin writes is he writes some really great pre-choruses, and then you're like, where do you go from here? How do you like you're like it's really hard to find your place. And even that song, I think that's one where I had to be like, no, just sing like this thing, and the I want to be like, don't go bigger or louder or more things.
Oh yeah,
Like
that was one where I was
opposite.
like, I was trying so many different things.
Yeah, because it felt like you should go up more because you're coming out of that pre-chorus, but you can't. You're like, it's just like then it's like stratospheric, and you're like screaming or something, and it's like it just didn't work. It was just a tough song to kind of like figure all that out, but I was really happy with it. I thought it was a great reintroduction to us existing as a band and making new music. I don't know.
Concur.
Yeah.
Is that something that you tend to do then, Justin? Do you start like when you're writing mostly like at a pre-chorus? Is that how you kind of work most of the time?
No, I have
No.
no real other than like the only thing I know is if I'm bringing an idea to the band, I just pick up a guitar and start playing, and then a melody comes out or it doesn't, and then
Like he's going for a walk, and that walk
Right.
might take him to where he needs to go, or he might end up
yeah.
in the river. But like, every time he writes, I'm just saying, like he just writes. I would say from someone who watches him, he writes intuitively as he plays and sings, like as a thing. But obviously, if I bring him a song, then he looks at it differently.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, what could, and it is easier when someone else brings you a thing. It's okay. If it's just music, it's easier because then it's but if it's words, I'm just thinking of particle physics. Like it took me, it's so hard to sing somebody else's melody and words for me.
Yeah, I think it
Right.
was also just a complicated thing, something that we haven't done as a band.
Yeah.
Like, and it was a lot of conversations happening, and Justin with details and how you talk about things. Like, I think it was just getting bogged down in like this weird thing where, it kind of felt like this weird fight, which was like not needed, because I think in the end it was like
I
everybody was,
just did not understand. Like, I just thought it was saying one thing, and you were like, no, dude, you have to look at it from this angle. And it just took me like weeks, months. I don't know. But then once I figured it out, I was like, I think even as I sang it, I was still a little confused at points.
for
But
sure.
what's really funny is like I talked to Patrick and I was like, I tried to sing it like you, but I just can't sing like you. And then Patrick's like, oh, I tried to sing that other part like you. And it's like, oh shit, dude, we should have just tried to be ourselves. What the fuck?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole time we're not telling Justin to try to sing like Patrick, but he's misinterpreting what
I
we're
got it.
saying
Okay.
and did
Yeah.
that. And so it's just this really awkward time in the studio where we're like, no, just what we're saying is don't change these specific words. You change those, that's fine.
Yeah.
And just sing like you, but don't change the melody completely. It's just really tough. I mean, we're like, I get it, because if someone told me to play a guitar part that I didn't write, it's like
We'd
how
never done that
I
before.
understand
Like
that.
that was a brand new experience. So
Oh,
like
it was
I am gonna say that like yes, now I understand what that experience is like. Whereas like if I'm writing it, I know it, you
Yeah.
know. And
totally.
any change can usually be smoothed out much faster.
Yeah, even if it's something that Justin's like, fuck you, I don't want to change that. There's usually a discussion that we can have, and we can find a place where like the team
Yeah.
and him have kind of come. And when we can't, we've had a few songs end up in weird spots, and we just we just move on, and that's just the facts for that time. But what we've also found is that we can come back and revisit things and do a good job later when we've grown and separated from the moment, right? But yeah, I think that I don't know what we were actually talking about when we started talking.
Originally it was about writing lyrics
Oh
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
verses, but it yeah, to just sort of like go over that, the way I write is guitar starts being played, the melody usually just happens.
Right.
And that finds itself out, and then I accidentally say a few words. I sing nonsense usually, just and then a word or two will poke out. And then once an idea of what the song's about comes to my mind based on those few words, then it becomes a puzzle I need to solve. And then it's like I'm solving puzzles. And sometimes Josh will say, like, if I'm struggling on something, I'm like, I love these phrases, but I don't really know where it's going. And then he'll look at it and go like, oh, what if you write it about this? And then I'll go like, oh shit, okay. And then
It's a
so we
little bit like a game of Wordle or something that we start playing with each other when he has in trouble. Most of the times he writes the words and they're fine. I'm like, oh, I don't, and he'll be like, I think I want to change. I'm like, no, 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 don't change that. This is good. This is good. Don't
Yeah.
go down that path. Or it's like, oh, you
same,
said this over
yeah.
here. It's just like we just kind of,
Like, don't no, and then you're like, no, do change this.
yeah, yeah. It's just like there's an editing, that happens there as a band,
Yeah.
instead of just being like, I think at different times we're just not doing that as much as a band, but I think we try to like, because there's things that really stick out to us that we can understand as like audience members of Justin's voice and singing, that maybe Justin can't understand from that angle,
Yeah.
because we're there playing with him, but we're also like hearing his voice the same way the audience is going to hear his voice in the lyrics. And so
Mhm.
we're kind of like trying to be like, oh no, this is cool, or I like this because it has a double meaning, or like you don't know, or that line you're doing, it sounds like you're forcing this thing in here, which maybe is something better, and it just sucks because it's a long process, and it's a lot of work to write as many words as Justin does. So
Can I just I
it's
just
not
throw
easy.
out on this record, uh
I,
I had a real big struggle when we were recording at Ed's studio at Flowers, and
yeah,
you wanted me to change a phrase, and
Mhm.
then you said, I think you came up with it. You said, what if you said from grave to crawl,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? And I was like, I did not understand what that meant, and I could not wrap my head around it,
No,
and I was
no,
like,
grave.
dumb.
Wait, no.
From
What?
grave to crawl.
From grave I crawl, not to
Yeah.
crawl.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, from grave.
I was like, that doesn't make sense. I don't know what you're saying.
Like, yeah, and I was just like, I don't get it. I don't
What
get
did you have there? You had similar meaning.
No, it was like
Goofy.
from like birth to death, basically. Like
Yeah,
some
but you had the
like,
way you were saying it,
Yeah.
I felt like was a little too on the nose in a weird way.
yeah, it was clunky. I couldn't find the right word. It was like down to the wire. But then you came up with that. I mean, I had I crawl, but I didn't have the first part like figured out, and I still like it just took me a long time, and then
thing,
saying it, and then I'm like, God, that's creepy, and I just like I love it. But a lot of times too, like I don't even know what I'm singing. Sometimes I just know either I trust Josh, or I'm just like, fuck, I don't know what to do. Fuck it, okay, or I get a feeling that this just feels right, even if I don't understand it. And oftentimes meanings change even from the time you write it to the time you record it to the time it comes out. And like some of these songs have changed meanings 2 or 3 times for me.
Right.
And they've sort of like, and I do kind of, believe that part of you may know what you're doing without you being conscious of knowing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it's wild how things have hit me differently since the record, has been finished. Sorry, I went off on a tangent there.
Good.
But I wanted to give Josh his props.
Yeah, no, I think, and I just like that song. Also, like I'm listening to the rest of the lyrics in those moments and putting it together, and he's looking for words, and he was trying to say something, I feel like, and then, but I was like, oh, but what if you do it like this? Because then it's like it sounds like the opposite thing, right? Your grave to crawl, like it's kind of more of a rebirth,
Yeah.
and it kind of works with the whole kind of like life and ancestry and whatever, like all those kind of things that are kind of,
but also like a horror movie, like
but also weird and creepy.
It's just like
a bit zombie-like.
Well, and like this, so, and you can take it so many different ways, but it's also not cheesy like that, which is awesome. That I think that's always the goal, is like be quirky and weird, but not have it be.
But even like another meaning too, I thought I was like from grave, it's just like, an impossible situation, getting yourself out of it. Like I love it when things have like a multitude of meanings. And I think we try to do
Kill Bill, it's like she got herself out of that grave and Kill Bill.
Oh yeah, it's about Thurman, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's about Uma Thurman. That video has a woman with sword in it.
See her in the Old Guard 2. Did you see that?
Yeah, I watched that.
Yeah, it was great seeing her kick ass again.
Yeah, it was. Anyways.
Well, just because you mentioned particle physics, obviously Patrick Stump's on the album, you've got Matt of Citizen, you've got Deanna of Sincere Engineer. How did they all get involved in the record and being a part of it?
We kind of just asked them all. They're like, we have relationships with everybody. I mean, Patrick had mentioned that he wanted to work on the album of some sort, or anything he could do through Sean, and we had just rekindled our friendship through our friend Andy. It's not that we didn't have a friendship. It's just like a weird thing. They're such a big band, and like I'd go to their shows to hang out with their techs, and like we just never connected that much because he's a very busy person.
Yeah.
And also we're all kind of weirdos, and I think that we also all are in a place in our lives where we've worked on those things, and we had a kind of a rekindling because we realized we were all just being weirdos.
I feel like the three of us really connected at that Fall Out Boy show in Minneapolis or St. Paul, wherever that was, where we're just like, oh, wow, we really are very similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Which we knew back then, but we just spent so much time between like them living their lives and us, and, it just, Patrick was like, oh, I would like to do this. And it's what he does very well, is makes music. And it's all I think he spends 99% of his time doing that, other than raising his kids and that stuff. It's like, he was just like, yeah. And it was kind of this thing like, oh, I was like, here's some song ideas we have that need choruses and stuff. Do you want to see if what you come up with? And he just kind of came back and forth, and it was a while. And all of a sudden he's like, oh shit, here it is. And like one night at 3 a.m, he sent me a song that he'd been working on. I was like, oh my God, this is really cool. This chorus you did and stuff. Which is a song that we actually didn't finish for this record. But, and then like a few days later, he's just like, hey, I had this idea in my head the last day or so, and I just had to get it out. It just feels like a song that you guys would have written and you haven't yet. And it's kind of what we've been talking about with all of us when we, with Justin and him, because they like, I think Patrick and Justin both have like a mutual admiration for each other and like really like, and not that I don't, but there's a thing there where like there's a,
There's a special
both
bond.
lead singers and both,
Yeah.
Patrick was one of the earliest people to come out to our show and become a fan of our band. And this sounds weird to say, but like in the really early days, we played like a basement somewhere, and he came to the show because we had a guy playing keyboard for us that was in a band called Animal Chin, which he loved. And so he was like, oh, I want to see this band because it says X Animal Chin, and that's where he met us. And then we
Right.
played some shows together in like really weird places. So we just
There's
have a really long, old relationship. But it's weird because we don't live in the same cities. It's not like we saw each other all the time, only when we were doing the things that we did. But it was really cool to work with him. And then, yeah, he just sent us the chorus and the intro rock part. And I was like, this is really cool. And, also a great thing that was from that is like we had shied away from writing these kind of like more straightforward rock guitar part songs that we've been getting more angular and leaning into the old self. And that actually brought one of the kind of like more, even if it kills me level style rock, like this is for real guitar heavy, like doubled big beefy chorus sounds like those songs we were talking about before. Like, I don't know.
big
So
beefy.
big beefy. So it was like a really good compliment to what we had already written. We're like, this is actually a perfect song to fit on this record. And of course, we then went and made it. The verse is a little bizarre, but it's fun to do that.
Yeah.
Wait, are you talking about the music or the lyrics?
The music,
Okay.
and the music is basically based on what was there, but we just play it differently than that. But it's a little more Fugazi-ish, I
Yeah.
think. I hate saying that because that makes me feel like I'm gross inside because Fugazi is so great, and that's not.
Yeah, that's
But
not like Fugazi. It's like a popified Fugazi. How about that?
yeah. But no, but then the lyrics, it was crazy. And then when like we asked Patrick to sing on it in the end there, and he just like went, and I was like, hey, just go ham. Like every part is, basically maybe
Free for all.
first chorus on, start just singing. And he sent us this just like onslaught of vocals and things to go with Justin. And it's like even that second verse when you guys both sing that part, it's just crazy sounding and awesome, and you can very much tell it's both of you guys, and that's what I love about their voices together. It's like you can really tell that it's each of them. I don't know. I'm blabbing around. I don't know what I'm saying.
Way to go. Did it, Josh.
And what about getting Matt and Deanna involved? How did they get into the picture?
So Matt, we've done some touring with his side project, which is his name, which is awesome. And I've fallen in love with those records and Citizen. Like I'm kind of a late to Citizen guy, like because Jesse was always like Citizen's badass. I love them, and he became friends on Warp Tour, one of the Warp Tours with Matt. And he was a big proponent why we took Matt's solo project on tour originally. But I just love his work. I mean, he just like has his own studio and is constantly putting out music and working and getting buff. But he's a super sweet dude. So we were just like, Jesse was like, we'd brought up people, and Jesse was like, well, Matt. And I was like, yeah, I'd love Matt to do it. And he had hit him up, and Matt was like, yeah, this is he's like the little kid in me that loves your band from when I, first found out of you guys is going to be so stoked that I got to sing on our record. And so I sent him a couple songs. I was like, hey, can you do this song? And then he was like, what about that other song that you guys were talking about? And I was like, because I was trying to figure out where he'd fit on Your Days Are Numbered, but like Justin had sung the whole thing, and there wasn't a lot, there wasn't space necessarily. I was like, well, there's this, you can sing that one part if you wanted to, or see what you can come up with. And so he just did that, and it was kind of amazing. We were like, this is amazing. This is like, it's really, I love how it kind of throws you for a loop all of a sudden. You're like, wait, who's that?
Yeah.
And so it went
He has
really.
the right voice for like what I would love to have been able to do, because I think that's the moment right there.
Yeah. And then he
That's
sang,
what
he
I
also
wanted to do.
sang on The Fuck We Are. He did like some gang vocals at the end and Deanna's on that as well. Just because we were like, that song seems like it should have like all our friends on it. And so we were just we were also like at a scramble moment because the way the record was made and the timing, I could never give people straight answers, and we never had like, does the song have enough lyrics on it to send to them to have them do stuff? It was always just like but we were in Chicago working. And I was like, we had met Deanna on the Sad Summer and become friends, and I was just like, hey, you want to sing on this? And she's like, yeah. And so she just came in and we were like, I think you're gonna sing on this song. I think this part would be cool with your voice because there's a part that we were like gonna have to re-record Justin's vocals for already. So like, why not? We'll see what she sounds like there instead of doing Justin's voice there. Just because he was a little raspy when we did the part originally. And then yeah, she came up with a bunch of great like harmonies on the spot, and we just kind of like it was a lot of fun. But yeah, we just reached out to our friends, and we would have loved to get more people, but time and like the chaos of finishing the record, and
Yeah.
it became a thing where like, okay, but we'd done it on Even If It Kills Me a little bit with some of our friends. We had Max Bemis was on it, and our friend Zoloff, but it was so last second. We had them all sing on like one song, and it was like we just didn't want to do that. We wanted to actually let people that have like real distinct voices that we really like, that I feel like would lend to these moments, that it was like, this is really neat. I don't know. I'm glad it worked out because we didn't know. It's such a foreign thing for us to actually do that. Same with like writing with Patrick. It's such a foreign thing to have someone else write for Motion City. That's something we probably were adamantly against for a long time, just keeping
Right.
Now that we've reached a certain age, where Harrison fording everything, or we're just like, fuck it, why?
I mean, like, it's not gonna hurt us. Like, I like the guy. I mean, look at Patrick's songwriting, music wise, is like so many different things I've heard come out of him that are like all over the gamut. It's like that guy is a talented dude. I'm just interested. I didn't expect him to write a new song for us. That was his idea. That was really rad that he did that, and I'm so stoked. And it's funny and it works for us so well. It was great because we were like, oh shit, like when he said that, I was like, this is like the quirky, kind of like goofy lyrics, but also serious, that we've kind of lost sometimes. Like, like the capital H-ness of our band isn't always there now. We tend to do the same thing, but we're a little more like serious sometimes. I think there's a tongue-in-cheekness of this song that is like that.
Well, and I think
he opened that back up for us a little bit. I think
share a brain in some ways, in that we both understand our eccentricities. Let's call it that.
Yeah, or like the idea of like just
like
I know it's funny because when Justin had heard the song, he was like, I don't understand this Doctor in the House part. Like, why would I need it? Or I failed this class. It says, why would I need like a particle? Like, I'm like, this is the point, is that you're like, your interaction with someone that you can't understand, you're interacting with someone, but instead of like just talking to the person and working it out and figuring out how to interact, you want to go find a particle physicist to figure out how to communicate to people, which is like, it seems like the most ridiculous thing to do. Like over top reaction to do it.
Overcompensate. It's overcomplicating something that doesn't need to be overcomplicated. A lot in our discussions about art and people, and that's interesting.
Yeah. I think at its basis, like that's the serious, that's like the real serious thing of it, is like, oh, you're looking for a solution is getting in the way of the solution.
Yeah.
It's also funny because you would fail a class of something that you're good at and whatever by probably just not being there, and then also be smart. Like this is very much like, I want to make films and be in film school, but I failed film school. Like it's all kind of like, it works in my head to like the realness of our lives. Like I've done the same shit. This is how we get in our own way.
Well, or like finding out later in life that I am actually intelligent and asking you, and you're like, dude, nobody would think you're stupid. And I'm like,
I think my exact quote, which I don't, it sounds mean and I don't mean it to be, but it's like, I was like, no, nobody thinks you're stupid. We all know you're very intelligent. You're just a dumbass.
Yes, and that's the thing I try to explain now. It's like, yes, I'm very intelligent according to tests that people take, but I also don't understand real simple fucking shit. I just complicate stuff to the point where it drives.
Not that you even don't understand it, you just overcomplicate it so you can't understand it.
Yeah, but I'm trying to uncomplicate it.
I know.
A conundrum.
It is a conundrum. I have to be like, but why is this do this and this and that? And I just go, let's just take a step forward, keep walking, stop looking at that. Go this way. That's just basically it. Like, here, go this way. I'm not trying to put blinders on you, but if you move,
Josh is my handler. He's just like,
if you move 10 feet this way, we'll be okay. We just gotta get away from that thing, that shiny thing that's bothering you.
Kind of like the guardrails in life, basically. Yeah.
Well,
well, what makes life difficult for me, daily living, is I think what makes art interesting, or I don't want to say good, makes me good at art, but I may look at things a different way with art because of the things I just can't figure out.
You have a unique eye to an ear to what you do, and what we do as a group is each of us bring our unique pieces together, and that's what makes Motion City what it is.
We're all fucking weirdos that like I mean I don't want to speak for anybody else. I'm trying to think of who's the most like normal, like would you say Jesse might be the most able to function in the real world?
I mean I think we're all the same level of whatever,
just in different ways.
I think some of us can mask it better than others at times, but I think we all have.
Okay.
I feel like I've been a wild mess.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for anybody, but like people keep their guards up, and I think what's great about our band and our age now is that we don't have those guards up, and we're able to be vulnerable and have conversations when, someone that maybe wouldn't have talked to me about the way they're feeling about things because of whatever will now bring them up, even if they know that might make me feel mad, but then I can look at that and go like, oh, that's not gonna make me mad. Here's how to look at it differently. And does that help you? Like, we can understand each other differently. And interpersonal relationships in a band is very complicated and weird. And it makes sense why a lot of bands, explode into shattered pieces, but somehow we've been able to not do that most of the time.
In spite of having me in the band.
Well, we've all been the.
No, but I think problem. What's really like
maybe not mad. Yeah. We've all been the problem. All of us have our quirks,
our issues, our isms, our whatever you want to call them.
Advantages and disadvantages. Everyone's like different, and it sounds like you kind of like move in a unit and complement each other.
Yeah, well, the great thing is like musically, I feel like we all bring stuff to the table, even though I'm like think I'm a hack. Something like I think that my specific type of guitar playing is what it is. Like it is in my ear to other people's parts, like what I like. There's something about what I like that I think is a likable thing for other people. So I try to use I don't know. I think that's the skill I have, but I think.
I will say too that you talk about voices, which I don't understand why people think my voice is distinctive because I'm me, but I will say that I can always tell a Josh Cain guitar part. So for whatever that's worth, like nobody plays like you. You're a fucking weirdo, and it's pretty cool. For whatever that's worth.
I am a weirdo.
Well, guys, I've had you for just around an hour now, so we'll look at.
We answered some questions. I'm sorry if we just went off.
No, guys. Yeah. I know you've got like this US tour that we talked about. That I'm sure you guys will be excited for, and Slam Dunk next year as well. That'll be really cool.
Back. Yeah.
Any other plans for the rest of 2025 and 2026 that you want to mention and talk about?
I don't know if there's anything that we have the Say Anything thing, which is 2 legs, which will be a lot of fun. Super excited that Sincere Engineer and also are going to come out, each leg differently. Slam Dunk's going to be great. I think, we're just going to keep, there's going to be other stuff and we'll keep going.
I wish we could do more. And
we're playing Fest, and there's possibilities for that kind of stuff, but it's based on things I don't know yet. It's like, we're waiting to hear, obviously not in England because Slam Dunk that's what you do. And so we'd have to, there's clauses to those things. We can't really play shows in England when you're doing slam dunk.
I have a question or a thing I want to throw out there because I recently went to, well, recently, a few months ago, maybe, I went to see a Smoking Popes show and I got talking to Josh and we both decided that we were, not this Josh, Smoking Popes Josh.
Right.
And we both decided that we should go to England, to Europe in 2027 and Motion City would play Even If It Kills Me, and because it would be the 20th anniversary, and Smoking Popes could play the 30th anniversary of Destination Failure. And we thought that would be a good bill. So if you can get people to be interested in that, that is my ask for you.
Okay, that's fair.
That would be fucking insane.
That would be sick.
That would be really fun. You know,
I'll do what I can.
Play every night.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome, guys.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much. I know I've taken up a bit of your time. Enjoy the rest of your days.
All right.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll see you guys at Slam Dunk next year.
Sounds good, man. Make sure you say hi.
Please.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care, dudes.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. And that's it. Thanks so much for tuning in to It's Not a Phase. If you enjoyed this episode, then don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Leave a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Follow the podcast on social media, and maybe even join the Patreon or grab some merch from the store. You can find everything that you need at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. Thanks again. Hopefully catch you on the next one. And remember, it's not a phase, it's a lifestyle.